welcome to the channel. My name is Miles Halter of Guitar Fluence, and today we're going to be learning 10 basic jazz guitar chords. And these are guitar chords that are commonly found in jazz standards and used in general jazz composition all the time. And after you've gone through this lesson, you'll have a relatively diverse set of chords that you can use for your jazz guitar playing. And all of these chords are going to be based around the root note, C, and we'll dive into a little more behind the music theory during the rest of the video. So let's get right to it. Okay, so we're going to start by looking at our three main types of jazz guitar chords, which are seventh chords. So this is going to be your major seventh chord, your dominant seventh chord, and your minor seventh chord. Now, all of these chords are going to be based, like I said earlier, around the root note C, and we're going to be playing the C note at our 8th fret of our low E. Alright, so our first shape here is going to be our C major 7 chord. Alright? And it looks like that. Now, one way you can think about a C major 7 chord is, well, take your A minor shape and then bring it down to your 9th fret G. Make sure your pinky's on the 9th fret G. And so now you have an E minor shape, but you'll put your index finger on that 8th fret low E. So it's really like an E minor triad over a C note. And so that's how we get our C major 7 chord. Now, let's look at C dominant 7th. And to create C dominant 7th, also known as C7, all you have to do is take your major 7th and move it down a half step. So now it becomes a flattened 7th, our dominant 7th. So that's on our 9th fret of our D string. We want that note to go down a half step. And normally, when we do that movement, we swap our middle and ring fingers. So that's our C dominant 7th chord. And now if we want to make our minor 7th chord, we need to take what is our major 3rd in that dominant 7th chord and bring it down a half step as well. That's our E note, our 9th fret G, and we're going to take that down to the 8th fret G. But normally, the way you'll play this chord, at least how I play it, is you take your middle finger and you put it on the 8th fret of your low E, and then you take your ring finger and you use it to bar across the 8th frets of D, G, and B. Like an A major type shape, but at that 8th fret instead, with your middle finger once again on that 8th fret of your low E. Okay, alright, let's take a look at our next set of chords. Okay, so our next set of 3 chords are going to be closely related to our minor 7th chord, the chord that we ended with. So we're down here at this C minor 7 shape. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a C minor 7 flat 5. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take that 8th fret of our B string and we're going to bring it down to our 7th fret B. So this is a minor 7th chord, and this is the 5th interval. And now that we're flattening that 5th, now it's minor 7, flat 5. And you'll play that with index on the B string, pinky on G, ring finger on the D string, and middle finger on the low E. Okay, so that's our minor 7 flat 5 chord, and from there we're going to go into a diminished 7th chord. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to move that 8th fret on the D string down to the 7th fret. So we go from this to this. And this is a really cool chord because if you're moving it up in minor thirds, 3 frets at a time, going to remain the same in each shape. But anyways, more on that in another lesson. So the way that we play this diminished seventh shape is we're going to take our index finger and we're going to bar the 7th frets of D, G, and B. And then we're going to take our ring finger and put it on that 8th fret G, and our middle finger on the 8th fret low E. Okay, and another common way to play this chord is to move the root note from the low E to the high E. So, we've got our minor 7 flat 5 chord, and then we have our diminished 7th chord. And the third chord that's related to our minor 7th chord is the minor 11 chord. And what we do there is, instead of moving from the 8th fret to the 7th fret on the B string, we move from the 8th fret to the 6th fret of the B string. So, move from that 5th to that 4th interval, or our 11th. And once again, for that, we're just going to have index, pinky, ring, middle finger, index on B, pinky on G, ring finger on D, and middle finger on the low E. So that's our minor 7, diminished 7th, and, our minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7th, and minor 11 chords. And now let's take a look at our last 4 chords. So, for these last 4 chords, we're going to start with a C major 7, sharp 11, and then we're going to move on to some chords with their root notes on the A string 7th fret. So, let's start with that sharp 11 chord, major 7, sharp 11. So we're going to take our original major 7th shape here at that 8th fret low E. We're going to take that 8th fret B and move it down to the 7th fret. We're playing that with index on B, pinky finger on G, ring finger on D, and middle finger on the low E. So, that's our major 7 chord with a sharp 11, sharp 4. Okay, so major 7, sharp 11. Now, let's move our middle finger to the 7th fret of our A string, which is an E note, and E is a popular, commonly you'll see these 9th chords we're about to talk about played at that E, and there's a variety of reasons for that, but today I'm just going to show you the chords and we won't dive into that. But so what we have here is we're going to have our major 9, dominant 9th, and minor 9th chords. So that's going to look and sound like this. Major 9, dominant 9th, and minor 9th. So what we're doing here is we have our root note, then we have a major 3rd, and then we have a major 7th, and a regular 9th. And to turn that dominant, we flatten that 7th. And to turn it minor, we flatten that major 3rd. So the way we're playing this is, for the major 9th chord, we're going to play 7 of the A string with our middle finger, and 6 of the D string with our index finger, and then pinky on 8 of G, then ring finger on 7 of B. And then that's our E major 9 chord, and to turn it into E dominant 9th, we need to bring that 8th fret G down a half step to that 7th fret G. And we're going to swap our pinky and ring fingers there. So that's middle, index, ring, pinky finger on 7, 6, 7, and 7. So that's our E dominant 9th chord. And then, last but not least, we have our E minor 9 chord, which we make by going to that E dominant 9th shape and bringing our index finger down a half step to the 5th fret D. So there's E minor 9, and E dominant 9th, and E major 9. And of course, we started with C major 7 sharp 4. So, anyways, let's wrap it up. Hey everyone, thank you so much for checking out today's video. And one thing to keep in mind with all these chords, well, actually in particular the ones with the root note on the low E, you can always switch that root note to the high E. So that can kind of double the number of chords you learned with the root note on the E string. Isn't that cool? And then you'll have 7 more new chord shapes to use in your guitar playing. And anyways, in order to practice these chords, I suggest working with some jazz standards, and well, that's really about it. And try substituting some of your regular chords with these jazz guitar chords as well. Like you could substitute your E minor chord with an E minor 9 chord, or you could substitute your regular C major chord with a C major 7th chord. Those are just a few examples of what you can do with these new jazz guitar chords. So anyways, once again, thanks for watching today's video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.